Hello adventurers, I'm Gray and welcome back to another Hytale blog post update. This one is about designing monsters for Hytale, and it's a pretty short and simple one. However, there are some interesting details in here that I'm going to talk about. I've kind of changed the format of doing these types of things now. So in order to make it easier to read and tell what's going on, I zoomed in. You can see everything very boldly, and I'm going to follow it, and you can see it as I go down as I scroll down pretty much. And I'm not going to have a face cam anymore because that's not really necessary in these, and I'm just going to quickly summarize everything. So it wouldn't be an adventure without monsters to encounter. Today we're going into a little bit more detail about some of the dangerous foes you'll face as you explore Orbis in adventure mode. Once again, arachnophobes, beware. There's a spider at the end of this post. Stop scrolling when you see the Chork. I appreciate all the warnings they give here because I know there's a good number of arachnophobes out there who wouldn't want to see that. And you might have to be careful in the game too, or I guess there will be a peaceful mode so you can turn off spiders once you play the real game if you're an arachnophobe. But to start out, we have this skeletal archer, I believe here, a skeleton archer. You can see him in good detail. It's been shown off before in concept art, which I believe they'll show that concept art in a moment. But this is a skeleton archer in Zone 1. Skeletons are a staple of fantasy adventure games. In adventure mode, you'll encounter them as you delve into dungeons and pick through ruins above ground. They're common foes, but like Chorks, they appear in several variants, including archers, mages, and warriors, and I assume more. We knew that we wanted enemies that offer different types of gameplay, using different tools, weapons, ranges, and so on, says Thomas Frick. Skeletons are the perfect type of enemy for that. They can wear any type of gear. They're a basic brick that can become anything we want because they're based on the human rig. It's very easy to make it modular, and they talked about that with the Hytale model maker before, about how they can easily create different variants of different armor and features and skills and stuff. So we can see the 5 skeletal types they showed off in this concept art here. There's 2 from Zone 1, the Archer and the Wizard. From Zone 2, they have the Sand Warrior. Zone 3 is the Frozen Warrior. And Zone 4 is the Soldier. And I assume these are the same general type of skeletal opponent, but just upgraded and having a different type of elemental power or dealing more damage. Because the further on you go in the zones, the more powerful the enemies are probably going to get. This concept piece shows off a number of skeleton variants. Skeletons are a standard enemy type, but their appearance and threat level changes as you progress through adventure mode. Undead encountered in later zones are tougher, wielding weapons and armor that reflect both the environment and the increased danger they pose. And once again, we get a look at the Sand Warrior here, which I believe they just call a Skeleton Warrior. So yeah, the basic Skeleton Warrior, like the name of it might change slightly from zone to zone, but your fighting them is going to be pretty much the same. And this also gives us another little view of the savannah of Zone 2, though there's not too many new details to pick out here. I like the skeleton's design though, that little beard that somehow stayed on there even after he's rotted to bones. Now, I started investigating how we could do different types of skeleton using Hytale Model Maker to speed up the process, Thomas says. It's very easy to change skins and armor. For more information about the modular character building system, click here. They've started linking things and providing more resources in order for people like me to be able to follow it and track everything that's been updated and how and when, which I really appreciate. It's a nice thing that makes my job easier, I will say. Not like it's a job or anything, it's just for fun that I do this. Okay, here's a creepy little cave showing off the crawlers. This is kind of like a spider cave, but with crawlers who are supposed to be sort of creepy void minions, though I know a lot of people find spiders to be even scarier than these guys. But these guys are supposed to be frightening. They have glowing green eyes, and I like the caves that they have going on here because they're much more open and interesting and unique. Like, it looks like they have different sections that are unique to the type of monster you can find in them, which I like a lot more than something like Minecraft where it's always the same looking caves. Though hopefully after the latest 1.14 update for Minecraft they'll do a cave update. Who knows? Moving on, we see crawlers that lurk in the darkness waiting to leap out at unsuspecting adventurers. The creatures of the void make up the armies of Varen, Hytale's chief antagonist. So look at the wording here. Varen, Hytale's chief antagonist. That is the first time I've seen it worded in that way, and I think that's the first confirmation we've gotten that Varen is the main antagonist of Hytale. And if you haven't seen what Varen looks like, you can go to this blog post and then there's a link to the key art showcase, or you can just go straight to the key art showcase. I did a video on that, and I might link that in the description too, so you can take a look at Varen. He's basically a green Cthulhu looking guy who's made up of void element pretty much, and he's going to be controlling, or at least supposedly the master of a lot of these evil creatures that we'll be fighting and exploring and finding. So this is going to be interesting how we piece together the plot and figure out what Varen's been doing to this world, and with Gaia and all that stuff. These demonic monsters come in many different forms, but all pose a lethal threat. Their designs tell a story, offering clues to their origin and indicating that they each represent part of a greater threat. The challenge was to give them similarities in shapes and colors to hint to the player that it's the same family of creatures, the same faction. Which I'm not sure what faction they mean. I guess Varen's faction or the Void faction or whatever. Maybe they'll go into more details about that later on. Here's a look at the Void Eyes, I believe they're called. These are another Void creature, of course. They're frightening once again. You can tell that they have a similar look to the crawlers up here, and that they have glowing green eyes. They have like lots of jagged edges and diamond shapes and tentacles and stuff like that. And if we scroll down further, it says Void Eyes summon allies to their aid when threatened. So it looks like if normally, like in the first screenshot they showed of the Void Eyes, there was a character hiding from it, sort of sneaking by. It looks like that might be a more effective way to deal with them, because I'm guessing they're quite strong, so they're difficult to take down. And if they detect you with one of their 3 eyes, they're going to summon more creatures to attack you, to defend themselves, and to hoard you, basically. So that'll make it really difficult to fight, so it might be good to be stealthy here. Void creatures have a number of common features: pale flesh with purple accents, glowing green eyes, and curving horns. These curving horns are used in various places to symbolize Varen. The creatures are also related in terms of shape, even if they're different. Look out for diamond shapes. They're another key indicator of Varen and his minions. I see they're taking shots at Minecraft here. Instead of diamonds being the best, diamonds are evil. Going down further, we can see another Void creature. This one is the Void Spawn, striding out to a sandstorm. And as you can tell, it's carrying a giant green sword. And I believe green was thorium. That was the green element. Though there's no guarantee this is a thorium sword. But it's really big. In fact, it reminded me of Cloud's sword from Final Fantasy on first glimpse, even though it doesn't look quite like it. But he's big, he's threatening, and he has the curvy horn, the green eyes, and the purple color scheme, like all of Varen's minions do. And one other little detail to point out here is this is in Zone 2, once again, the deserty zone. However, you can see like glowing blue plants or trees of some sort. I'm not sure what those are, but that's interesting. It could be some sort of magical tree. Scrolling down, the most dangerous monsters have an appropriately threatening appearance, particularly in the Void Spawn. They're some of the most dangerous soldiers. Even so, it's important that all of Hytale's creatures cohere as part of the game's overall art style. Whether you're facing down a Void Spawn or befriending a Quebec, it should be clear that they're both part of the same universe, and this is achieved by ensuring that all creature designs are based on common elements. It may be good to keep these in mind if you design your own Hytale creatures. Yeah. Texturing plays a big role, as does the color palette you use, how you draw shadows, etc., art stuff. But the model maker helps a lot because it's based on cubes and planes, and you can make things consistent. But you have to consider the scale of the characters and all that stuff. So if you're going to be creative and make your own creatures and things like that, basically just keep in mind the theme of the game, the style of the game, and make sure it fits within the world. And to show that off a little bit more, they have a Troark here, which is different from all of Varen's minions, because you can tell it doesn't have the purple eyes, it doesn't have the horns, it doesn't have the pale purple skin. Oh, sorry, green eyes. It doesn't have green eyes. These are definitely blue. At least I think they're blue. Some could consider them to be green. But he doesn't have the purple skin and the horns or anything like that, because he's not one of Varen's minions. But what he is a Troark warrior guarding his campfire. And also, one thing I want to point out here that I'd never seen before is this pot above the campfire. It looks like you'll be able to cook soup or some sort of food or boil something above a campfire. And that might be another method of cooking if you're not at home, if you don't have a kitchen on you. You can make a pot above a campfire, heat it up that way, and then cook yourself some nice food on the go. That's an interesting system, because that means that there's not anything like a furnace to make food. Rather than that, you actually make it in a realistic way. I'm taking shots at Minecraft here, because no one puts food in their furnace. But by boiling it above an actual campfire. Which I like a lot. That adds to the immersion. Troarks are an example of the tonal middle ground. There's a sense of fun in their design that wouldn't be appropriate for an undead or void creature, but they're still physically imposing and pose a threat. Fantasy is often quite similar, and one way to make this ours is to have fun with it. The name Troark started as a joke. I was experimenting with a basic archetype, the Brute, a very muscular monster. I didn't want to do an orc or a troll, so I created a hybrid, and everybody ended up calling it a Troark. We ended up integrating that. That's a nice little story. All that having been said, some players aren't going to get their biggest scare when they wander into a Troark camp, or even when they have a run-in with Varen's forces. Instead, they're going to regret taking a wrong turn underground and ending up in exactly the wrong kind of cave. So this is where I say, if you're an arachnophobe, if you don't like spiders, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, because you should leave right now. But for those who aren't scared of spiders, I'm going to scroll down in 3, 2, 1, go. Yes! This Those are some mighty big teeth for a spider. Jesus. Honestly, I do think this cave is more frightening than even the one with the crawlers, like Varen's minion crawlers. Like this cave, with all the fog and the stalactites and mites and spiders everywhere and cobwebs, this is scary. Like this is a scary cave. I love it. I love this cave so much. If they can create this type of strong atmosphere, like unique atmosphere in different areas of the cave systems, I think it could be so much fun to go mining and exploring in Hytale. Hopefully this carries on throughout the different zones and they all have their unique styles of caves and things like that. But that's basically all for now. Sorry about the spiders, they get everywhere. And once again, they have everything in a little downloadable file here, which is really nice for me. That's everything in this blog post. Hopefully you guys enjoyed learning quite a bit about these creatures and monsters, which I think is a nice thing that they did these creatures right now, because next up, or at least pretty soon, I was planning on making a similar video to my Animals of Hytale thing, but instead it goes into the monsters. And what do you know, they happen to go into some monsters in detail right here in this blog post before I do that video, which is really nice of them. Thank you, Hypixel Studios. But as of now, that's everything. Hopefully you all enjoyed this video. Subscribe for more Hytale-based content since it's really hard to grow as a YouTuber nowadays. And I hope to see you all on the next adventure.